Okay, let's just dive right in. You know that feeling, right? You meet someone new and bam, instant gut feeling. It feels like magic, like you have some kind of superpower for reading people. But what if that magic is really just a trick? A complex and, honestly, a pretty misleading psychological illusion? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the dark psychology behind our first impressions.
So let me ask you, just take a second and be honest with yourself. How long does it really take you to size someone up? A minute? Maybe 30 seconds? 10?
Get this. The answer? Around 100 milliseconds. Yeah, that is literally faster than you can blink an eye. And this isn't some bug in our modern brains. Oh no. This is an ancient survival program hardwired into us to make a lightning-fast call, friend or foe. And that same system? It's still running the show today.
So, we're moving on to the instant verdict, the illusion of accuracy. Now look, the speed itself isn't the problem. The real danger, the tricky part, is just how much we trust that first hit. We have this deep-seated belief that if a thought is fast and automatic, it has to be true. And that, right there, is where the illusion kicks in.
And this really gets to the heart of it all. We mistake the feeling of being right for the fact of being right. See, our brain serves up that snap judgment with this overwhelming feeling of certainty. It feels so right, so obvious, that we don't even think to question it. We treat it like it's gospel truth, when really, it's just a first draft, and it was probably written in pencil.
All right, so how on earth is our brain doing this so fast? Well, it's using a bunch of mental shortcuts, what psychologists call cognitive biases. Let's start unmasking these shortcuts and take a peek at the hidden gears of judgment.
Okay, two of the big ones here are the halo and horn effects. Think of the halo effect like this. We see one good thing, let's say someone is really attractive, and our brain just goes, yep, they're probably smart and funny and kind too. It just fills in all the blanks with good stuff. And the horn effect? Well, that's its evil twin. One little negative thing, like, I don't know, an awkward handshake, and suddenly our brain assumes they're dishonest or incompetent. It's crazy how one tiny detail can color the entire picture.
But it doesn't stop there. Once that first impression is locked and loaded, another bias kicks in: confirmation bias. This is where your brain basically turns into a really biased detective. It's not looking for the truth anymore. No way. It's only looking for clues that prove its first guess was right, and it'll just totally ignore anything that suggests it might have been wrong.
And this can trap us in what's called a self-fulfilling loop. It's wild. Let's say your first impression is, this person seems kind of cold. So what do? You act a little distant, right? A little reserved. Well, they pick up on that vibe, and naturally they act distant back to you. And then your brain goes, aha, I knew it, they are cold. You see what happened? Your impression didn't just see reality, it actually helped create it.
Okay, but we can go even deeper. It's not just about these mental shortcuts. There are these other subconscious forces at play. You could almost call them ghosts in your brain, and they're pulling the strings from behind the scenes.
And this next one is huge. It's called projection, and it's this weird tendency we have to see things in other people that are actually inside of us. So, for example, if you're feeling insecure, you might see someone who's confident and your brain just labels it arrogance. Your judgment of them isn't really about them at all. It's a mirror, reflecting your own stuff right back at you.
Which brings us to this really powerful idea. First impressions often say more about the observer than the observed. Just let that sink in for a second. That snap judgment you made, it might not be a window looking out at them, but a mirror looking right back at you, reflecting your own biases, your own fears, your own past.
And of course, none of this happens in a vacuum, right? Society, the media we consume, it's all constantly training our brains. We're conditioned, for instance, to see babyface features and think innocent. We hear a deep voice and think authoritative. We see certain clothes and think high status. These are all learned shortcuts, automatic associations that just fire off before we even know what's happening.
So at its core, why do we do all this? Why the rush to judge? You know, it really comes down to fear. The unknown makes us anxious. It's uncomfortable. So a snap judgment is our brain's way of quickly slapping a label on someone, putting them in a nice, neat little box. It makes us feel a little less anxious, a little more in control, even if that control is a total illusion.
Okay, so this isn't just some fun little psychological quirk we're talking about. These judgments have massive, real-world consequences. We're talking about split-second decisions that can shape entire lives every single day.
I mean, just think about it. Hiring and promotions? Absolutely. Courtroom verdicts? You bet. Even dating and relationships, who gets to be popular, who gets left out? It's all happening on social media too. A hiring manager's gut feeling, a jury's impression, your decision to swipe left or right, all of it. A first impression that takes a fraction of a second can change everything for someone. Their job, their relationships, even their freedom.
And this whole thing gets put on steroids in the digital world. On social media, think about it, we aren't even judging a whole person. We're judging tiny, curated fragments. A profile pic, a clever bio. When you have that little information, our brains go into overdrive, filling in the blanks with, you guessed it, our own biases and projections. The problem just gets amplified.
Okay, I know. This all sounds kind of bleak, doesn't it? But here's the good news, and it's really good news. We are not just helpless puppets of our own brains. We can take back control. We can become more aware, more deliberate. We can absolutely learn how to rewrite that first draft.
So what's the first step? Simple. Awareness is your first line of defense. Just knowing that these things, the halo effect, confirmation bias, projection, just knowing they exist is the most critical first step. It's like it creates this tiny little pause between that gut reaction and your response. And in that pause, that's where you have power.
So here's a really practical way to start challenging your own judgments. Step 1. Just acknowledge it. Notice that gut reaction when it happens. Don't judge it, just see it. Step 2, and this is the game changer, treat that feeling as a hypothesis, not a fact. It's just a theory, a first guess. And then, step 3, actively go look for new information, especially information that might prove your first guess wrong.
And all this really leaves us with one last big question, a question you have to ask yourself. Is your snap judgment a window, or is it a mirror? The next time you get that instant hit about someone, just pause and ask yourself, am I seeing a clear window into who they are, or am I just looking into a mirror, seeing my own biases, my own fears, my own stuff reflected back at me? Answering that honestly, well, it could change how you see just about everyone.
Please like and subscribe.